All right, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is Anthony. Once again, we're on our 20-minute power test. We do a power test about every 6 weeks, it seems. Just as a reminder, right now I'm under the tutelage of Chaz Torman with Elevate Coaching. I've been with them now for just about 3 months. So progress has been good. I've gained about 11 watts so far in these last 3 months, 11, 12 watts in my FTP over these last couple months. So yeah, the test just started and I have a target. I was 240 last time, 240 watts last time for 20 minutes. I'm hoping to gain another 5 watts. Basically, since it bumped up 10 watts last time, I was not expecting another 10 watts. I mean, I doubt if you're going to get a 10 watt bump every time you do a power test. So, yeah, so the effort started. I also got to give a lot of credit to my wife, Ellen, who's basically killing herself trying to hold my wheel. And she bought a new bike, so she does not have power. And yeah, it's kind of hard to put in a 20-minute power test, basically, and you don't have power. So there's really nothing to show for it other than she got footage of me doing my test. So definitely thank her for that and, you know, just putting in that effort. And it may be easier if you have a carrot, you know, someone to just trail, but at the same time, when you know you won't be able to look at your data after, it's pretty hard to put in that type of effort. So yeah, I mean, she puts in a great effort and I thank her for that. So anyway, as you can see, I carry a pretty high cadence. It's what I'm comfortable with. I typically like to spin. Here climbing, we're on Glendora Mountain Road, so when I'm climbing, I like to keep it above 80. Obviously, if I'm in the 90s or something, I'm usually just fresh and have some energy at that point. This part of the climb that I'm gonna do the test on averages 6%. The entire climb averages 5%, but it usually, you know, goes up and down between 4% to 8%. So my goal is just sit in, establish a good rhythm, hold about 240 or so, and then try to, you know, go all out the last few minutes. And I apologize for the kit police that don't like to see mixed match kits, since I'm wearing some Pearl Izumi bibs and a Castelli jersey. So I like it though, looks good to me. So let's just keep rocking it. Anyway, yeah, the work I've been doing with Chaz is lately we've been spending a lot of time above threshold, mainly some VO2 efforts, VO2 intervals. We went from, I believe, 3-minute efforts to 5-minute efforts. Originally, we started off with some 8-minute FTP efforts, and then we moved over to some VO2 intervals. Being that my FTP is pretty low, I think spending time above threshold has helped a lot. It feels like my power is a little bit down, like my explosiveness. I used to sprint at about 1300 watts and now I barely hit 11. But at the same time, my endurance has increased a lot. And I think, you know, with that, I'm able to hold a little bit of power longer. I may not have as much power as I used to have, but I'm holding a little bit higher amount for a longer period of time, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so here I'm just trying to get that good rhythm, trying to just hold it as long as I can and be as comfortable as I can. My wife thought I was just chilling. She was like, you didn't even look like you were putting in any effort. But again, at the moment I have a FTP of about 229, 230. So if I'm at that or above, yeah, I'm putting in the effort. It may feel easy at the time, but how long can you hold it, you know? So, and even though this is just the beginning, overall I'm pretty satisfied with the effort I gave. I wanted to come out at 2:45 over the 20 minutes and, just see if I can keep improving off of that. It's a pretty long climb. A 20-minute effort's long just in general. And if I had my choice, I'd rather have a road that's not as steep. Maybe something that's 3% or so, maybe even 2%, 3%, 4% at the max. And I think that would be a little better for me to do a real power test. Unfortunately, Glendora Mountain Road is pretty much the best road for me to do long intervals on, uninterrupted. No stoplights, anything like that. And that doesn't have any downhill. So I'm kind of stuck with doing a little higher gradient. And, that's not my strong point. But yeah, it does allow you to keep some power down. It's just, it just fatigues me, like, to just get there. I'm using 200 plus watts when my FTP is only 229. I'm using 200 watts just to noodle up the hill before my intervals even start. So I'm not exactly as fresh as I need to be. Before this interval also, I did do a 5-minute effort at threshold, and then a little recovery period, and then the interval start. It's just the recovery period is where I suffer a little bit because, we're going uphill and I can't pedal light enough, and, unless I'm going to go 4 miles per hour or something to keep the watts down. So I'm always doing somewhere between 180 and 200 watts when I should be in like a recovery phase there, doing 130 watts or something, 120 watts. So at this point in the test, I'm actually still pretty comfortable. It's only 5-6 minutes in. I was pretty comfortable. The watts usually go up and down because the road fluctuates a little bit. There's little dips and stuff like that. Obviously, when you have a little dip, it's hard to keep your power up. Then you have some little steep points, just bogs you down a little bit. It's hard to get a consistent rhythm. But at the same time, that's one of the reasons why I like doing the test outside and like doing it on a road that has some ups and downs on it. Not really downhill, but some little changes in cadence, because that's a little more realistic to our riding and racing conditions. This week, this next week's coming up, I'm gonna spend some time on the trainer, and I'm doing some over-under intervals with some 30-30s at the end, which are killer. But I'm gonna be on the trainer, and I will most likely have a little bit better success, only because the trainer allows you to put it in erg mode. You kind of lock into a rhythm, and it keeps your legs a little bit fresher just by keeping that same rhythm. If you notice on here, my cadence will go from 90 to 70 something back to 80, and that taxes your legs just a little bit, but it's good to train it. Another issue I have with some of my health conditions is, as the road goes up, and you can see we're at 1,700 feet right now, which is not too high, but as you go up, the air does get thinner. So, and with me having the issues carrying oxygen, it's definitely a good training for me, but this will never be my true strong point of climbing up a mountain. Also, for anybody looking for a coach, give Chaz a try over at Elevate Coaching. I'll probably put a link to one of his videos at the end of this, and check out his website and see how you like it, and maybe give him a ring and see if he has some room for you. So far, I really like the training. Haven't been too fatigued. It's been basically 3 months. We don't really take a recovery week, at least not yet, but a lot of it is kind of base training or zone 2 endurance type rides, and with intervals, so far twice a week, and also with room for a group ride. So even though it's hard work and you do build some fatigue, it's usually not to the point to where you just can't ride the next day or whatever the case may be. You can hear my wife suffering, so like I said, I'm definitely appreciating the fact that she was willing to put in the effort. And sometimes people tease me saying, oh, your wife's just as fast as you or faster than you, and I love it. I mean, yeah, I never have to look for a riding partner, other than on the flats. If we go on the flats, yeah, she can't sustain that type of speed or power on the flats, but normal group rides and anytime we climb, her watts per kilo is slightly better than mine anyway. So climbing, typically she can beat me on long climbs, and obviously she's staying with me here, so I wouldn't trade it in for anything. Yeah, so now we're a good 10 minutes in, and yeah, I will start to suffer a little bit. I think I've done a pretty good job so far. I've been trying to work on spending less energy. So, I'm not an expert, but my cadence and pedal strokes seems to be pretty good. I'm trying to sit fairly still on the bike, not stiff. It's not rigor mortis or anything, but I don't want a lot of sway and head movement and all that and just burn unnecessary energy. I want most of my energy going through the legs. So I have been neglecting my abs a little bit though, so I need to get back on an ab routine. I'm still holding pretty good watts for me, so even though I'm starting to fatigue, I was feeling good at this point. I was feeling I was going to hit my marks and have a nice smile on my face when I was done, because I'm definitely not smiling now. It's starting to hurt a little bit. My cadence is still good though, so that's a good sign. As long as I'm able to keep spinning above 80, I'm typically able to bring the power back up. It is getting to the low 80s though now. Also, my wife just got a new bike. New tarmac is the 2020 version, which is great, but I'm a little bit bummed that, at the time I'm recording the audio for this video, the new tarmac, the 2021, just came out or just launched like yesterday. So of course we bought her bike a week ago, and the new tarmac comes out now. So yeah, a little bummed that you of course buy a bike and then they launch an all new bike, but at the same time, it's a great bike that she has, and it's definitely an upgrade from her 2008, 2009 tarmac that she had. Just get out of the saddle here and there. There's some kind of little steep points in the road here and there on some of the turns that just kind of bog you down a little bit. You can tell I'm really starting to suffer. Anytime my head starts going up and down, yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit of pain or a little bit of fatigue. Cadence is obviously slowing down. I'm into the 70s now. So we did the Montrose ride last week, and it's our first time going with the 8 o'clock group, which is one of the faster groups. They have a during normal non-COVID times, they have an 8 o'clock and an 8:30, and the 8:30 is blistering fast. The 8 o'clock is fast enough, and I've done the 7:45, which was like, it's fast, but it's easily doable. There's some spots where you can hurt a little bit and people attack here and there, but the 7:45 is doable, and the 8 is pretty fast. And I ended up getting dropped on the Valley Center climb, which I kind of took for granted. I was doing it with the 7:45. It's a whole different ride basically, and I didn't anticipate that we'd be going that fast on Valley Center. Not just we, but the entire group would be able to go that fast on Valley Center, and I lost touch a little bit with the group. So, but I did notice that I wasn't ready for the surges. Obviously, we don't have races or anything, so we're not doing any like race type simulations in our training at this moment. And I was not prepared for the surges. And I'm looking forward to doing these over-unders and 30-30s as much as they hurt, to build that part of my fitness. Just get me used to fast recovery and, some repeat efforts, because that's really what gets you on some of the races and some of the group rides. Is not that you can't put in a hard effort, it's just having to do it over and over again. So I'm excited to see how that's going to benefit me in the next 3 to 4 weeks. For some reason, this section starting here of this mountain, I just don't like. And I can't really put a finger on why. I'm going to try to train myself to start liking it, because it's nothing special. But I don't know why. I do not like this section of this mountain. These next, 2/10 of a mile. For some reason, I just don't like those sequence of turns. You can see here, I almost run off the road. I do run into the little pine needle or whatever that is on the ground. But yeah, fatigue is really starting to set in, and the heart rate's up to just about 180. I have a max of about 193, 195. Cadence is down to 72, low 70s. So I'm definitely feeling the pain. And at this point, I think I had my average up to almost 250. I think it was 248 or something like that. And, every second that I spend below that number, it's slowly dropping. That average is going to drop. So I'm trying to muster up a little energy and, keep that number as high as I can. Yeah, you can tell I'm really struggling. And my wife's really struggling too. Yeah. I'm starting to feel a little sorry for her. You hear her coughing and stuff back there, trying to. She really put her lungs through a little pain. I think I might be the luckiest guy on earth. So yeah, it's coming down to just about the end of the test here, and I am seriously hurting. One of the ways I can tell when I'm really hurting is, it seems a little ironic or whatever, but when my heart rate drops. Usually when you're maxed out giving hard effort, your heart rate keeps rising. But at one point, your body gets so fatigued that your heart rate actually drops, and it's probably because your muscles aren't demanding oxygen anymore, because they're simply not working anymore. They're not trying to put out heavy watts or whatever, so your heart rate actually drops down a little bit. It may not look like it, but I'm actually trying, and you can see I got back into the 300s, 280, stuff like that, and I'm really dying right here, weaving across the road, starting to see stars. You know, this is one of the obvious examples of effort is relative, you know. Someone else putting in 240 watts might be their zone 2 or their endurance watts, and for me it's maxed. You know, I'm maxed out. I'm actually over threshold right now, so shifting gears and trying to find a gear that I can spin in. And then here basically the test is over. So those last like 15-20 seconds I actually lost 5 watts. I had it at 246 only 15 seconds ago, and I slowly dropped the watts down to 241 for a 1 watt bump. But either way, I'm proud of it and happy that I was able to put in a good hard effort, even though I didn't get the results I wanted.